to an episode of PCar Talk. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And we are at Porsche Clearwater with some special guests. We have GM Mike O'Donnell here, and then we have Larry Wood, the third Porsche brand ambassador. What's going on, fellas? Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for being here, taking some time with us.
Yeah, it's good to be here on a Sunday. So.
Thanks for soaking up my weekend, guys.
Yeah, no, this is great. Actually, been a listener for a long time, so this is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so thanks for taking. We've been wanting to have you guys on the show for a long time. You guys have always been so good to us here, and you guys are so good to the customers. So I think it was like a perfect opportunity. Stars aligned finally that we all could get here. Mike literally flew in his plane to come here, so this
no
is
big
special.
Deal.
He's here. It's awesome. So let's get into the background a little bit for the people that don't know. You've been in the Porsche industry 20 plus years. So take us through your career progression. How does one become a GM of such obviously duration and time, but I know there's way more to that. So give us a little bit of career bio and how you are present day from past and go from there.
Sure. So I started in 2005 just as a parts driver. It was sort of an in-between job. All I ever wanted to do was be a police officer. So I started as a parts driver, just delivering parts. That's all I was doing. I did it here because I love Porsches,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I just wanted to be around the cars. So I just thought that was cool. It'd be a cool in-between job. I progressed from a parts driver to the parts counter. And at that point, I was kind of getting into the nitty-gritty, working with the shop. We have other brands as well, so we have Porsche, Subaru, Volkswagen, and BMW. So I was getting involved in all of that, and I was a car guy, so it was just cool. And then, all of a sudden, in the parts department, I was making pretty good money. I was mostly off on the weekends. I didn't have to chase drunk people around, so I just kind of stuck with it. From there, I did a little bit of motorsport stuff, so we actually we were a dine-in dealer for a while for BMW.
Nice.
That's cool.
So I did that. We hung some cool wheels on Porsches, exhausts, stuff like that. And then in 2009, there was our GM at the time saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And when there was literally no one in the sales department, he promoted me to Porsche sales manager.
Oh, wow.
In 2009. I mean, we were not selling very many cars. The economy was in the tank. It was not great. So they called me a manager, which at the time I was super impressed with myself. But it was I was really just managing myself.
Okay.
And thank God for Amanda, who was in finance, and Rhett Graham, who actually works with us now. He wasn't with the company at the time, but those people were my lifeline and kind of taught me how to do things. Mike Ford in our BMW store walked me through the road to the sale and everything, and then I was just kind of learning as I went. And we had a sort of a new crew come in around 2010. I was just selling Porsches at that time, and then in 2000 and I guess it was 16, I had the opportunity to manage our BMW service department, so kind of back into what we call the fixed side of the business.
Okay.
And learned a lot there. God, learned so much there. Had so much fun, though. Wonderful crew of people. Again, luckily, I was surrounded by wonderful people that taught me that end of the business. Learned a lot. I went over and managed our Subaru and our Volkswagen store for a time. And then back to Porsche in 2020, running this side of the business as we were transitioning into this nice, new, beautiful building.
Yeah,
so
it is gorgeous.
Yeah, so that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right, LW3. Let's hear yours. I think a lot of young people is a very interesting story. We hear stuff, and I'm sure you do too, all the time, Mike. How do I get into the brand? How do I start? Where do I even start doing what I'm doing to try to get in and work my way up and someday become a GM or whatever. Obviously there's traditional ways if there's a job posting, but those are so rare and far between, right? Because a lot of times you don't even need to post out, right? You already know a couple people that want to work there or have some skill set, so you don't even have to go searching for people. And I think, Larry has a really good, hey, I worked my way up to being a Porsche brand ambassador, and let's hear how you did it, your little path to be here and your future and where you want to be, and then we'll get into the Porsche side of things and like the mechanics and the cars and all the fun stuff.
Yeah. So, long story short, I worked at Publix when I was 14, and worked my way up. And then the minute I was 18, I went into the pharmacy as a technician, and wanted to be a pharmacist. And then I joined right during COVID. So I watched my boss's hair go from brown to gray in a year and a half, and decided that was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so he actually told me to do what I love and chase it. And I'm really thankful for that. I actually would ask him, I'm like, hey, should I be a pharmacist? And he never said yes. He never said no, but he never said yes. And that was kind of a defining moment there a little bit.
Yeah,
and
he's
so
like, I will not be responsible for your career path.
yeah, exactly. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I always loved cars, but never was really in like a car family. My only experiences was like one of my best friends in high school, his cousins had like a C63. They shared it in high school, which like that was hilarious. Like we're riding around a 2015 C63S. And so I always loved cars, and I love social media, and like I consumed it, but I never really like did it. And so I started going to car meets, and then I kind of helped run a car meet. And then we actually kind of partnered with Porsche Clearwater and would do cars and coffee here at the dealership. And then,
so to be clear, you weren't even affiliated yet with Porsche or Porsche Clearwater yet,
right?
But you were circulating on the outside,
right?
Kind of like a looky-loo in the window.
Yes,
huh?
yeah.
Awesome.
I'm here.
Yeah, and this was all while I was working at Publix and going to school. I was going to go into pharmacy school and got accepted, and then decided I didn't want to go $80,000 in debt for that.
Understandable.
It all worked out.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, and so I kind of pitched to Mike after we did the events a few times. I was like, hey, nobody really does social media for like main dealerships. Like a lot of the third-party exotic dealers do it, but nobody no main real dealer does it locally. And I thought it was something that would be really useful for a brand like Porsche. And so I kind of pitched that to him, and he took a chance on me. And long story short, that's kind of where it went.
Yeah. And just to be clear, we don't have a whole lot of turnover here, but when I am interviewing people, you'd be shocked at the number of people that come in for an interview and they're coming into a Porsche store, and they're in shorts and sneakers, or they're ill prepared, or just resume not properly put together.
Should approach it like a corporate job, because essentially you are
100%.
working with high level clientele.
Yeah,
like as you would wear a suit and tie if you walked into a corporate building. You should approach that the same way, correct?
Yeah. So my man Larry comes in here dressed to the nines with a business plan.
Nice.
Literally with a business plan and a PowerPoint presentation.
That's awesome.
On my own. Yeah, he put it on my PC. We went through it.
Mike's like, I don't know, I have time for this, but awesome.
Yeah, he was hired. To me, and I love that, right? Because it was so different than, when we do have to go through a hiring process here. It was just so different, and you can tell, more than anything else. When I look to hire someone here, I want somebody that really wants to be here and really has a plan and really has a drive and really wants to have a career. Those are the kind of things that resonate with me.
Yeah.
Larry checked all of those boxes.
Yeah. And because because you've been in the industry for so long, and anyone else that's been in any industry for so long, you know what to look for, right? You're looking for that passion. You're looking for hey, yeah, you're excited to be here now, but how about when it's Sunday and some podcast guys want to bring you in and it's your day off? Will you come in, or will you gripe about it? So he's here. So
good for
he
you.
might be griping behind closed doors, but he's here. No, I'm just kidding. But it does. Anybody can do the job when it's a good time, but can you do the job when it's not a good time?
And we've seen a lot of that because, especially during COVID, let's face it, you can have rookies come in here and, make great money.
Yeah.
And everything was selling, and now we're coming into a time, that a lot of the younger folks don't really remember. You talk about 2020 and prior to that, where you really had to sort of grind. It's very much of a grind, and there was the profitability wasn't what it was during COVID. So it's just a lot of folks don't really remember that. So we're literally having to, with some of the younger folks, we're having to
Like recalibrate a little bit.
Recalibrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I'm sure industry wide that's a challenge, just because it was like not a famine; it was feast during that time, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so now I wouldn't say famine, but maybe just calibrated to where it's normal.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like you do have to call people now. Like, it wasn't the way like where the phone's ringing off the hook and the cars would sell at port before they even got here.
Right.
You know, it's not like that anymore. You know, I mean, so many times, like, had a lot of friends obviously in the industry everywhere, and they were telling us that, and they're like, man, I sold 3 Panameras that just got loaded on a truck, and like, not that speak ill of them or anything like that, but you just didn't hear stuff like that prior to COVID, right? Like, people are like banging the door down, like, can I get a Panamera, dude? It's like, of course you can. Like, come on in.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very, very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about tariffs in general. Like, I think there's a lot of muddy water for especially a lot of listeners. We have a lot of people that listen that are on the go and don't really have time to maybe dive in and do the real, like, what's really going on, especially if no one's purchased a car post-tariff implementation. How is Porsche handling that, and what are they doing to go about that so the people understand what's happening there?
Yeah, so no tariff has technically been applied to any car that a customer has purchased.
Okay.
So Porsche was price protecting cars through most of the cars through July, and then after that they had a price increase.
Okay.
Right. So the price increase for most of the cars was 3.6%, and that went across the board. And then of course, model year 26 came out. I think prices went up a little bit on some of the models, but there's not been a single tariff that has been applied to a customer.
Okay. So in your opinion, is that being absorbed in some of that price increase, or kind of rolling it into the MSRP of the car? Is that how they're kind of combating it?
Sort
in
of.
a way,
So
instead of saying a line item tariff this, like as some places are doing, are they kind of just rolling that in?
They're rolling it in, yeah. And the way the tariff works is it's on the landed cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So PAG sells the car to PCNA for whatever that cost is.
Mm-hmm.
That cost gets marked up to the dealer, and then that cost from the dealer gets marked up to the customer. So a 3.6% increase theoretically is going to absorb not all of it, but some of it certainly. But it's cost Porsche a ton of money, and the Volkswagen Group.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of money. I've seen some of high level numbers where they're projected to lose with a B billions, like because of the tariff, and trying to find out ways to absorb that cost where it's not directly affecting the customer base.
Yeah, it's affected all of us. We did have some cars that the prices were increased, and after the customer had already ordered that, Porsche wouldn't price protect. So that's never an easy conversation, and it's sort of a perfect storm as well, because the EV market we see has definitely sort of fallen off, and of course the $7,500 tax credit goes away at the end of September, but it's a perfect storm in that the cars are costing more, and then these EVs, we have a big push to try and get rid of them.
Yeah,
we're losing a ton of money each time we sell one.
Mm-hmm.
A ton.
Yeah,
like not Porsche-like in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So it's just it's definitely a different time from 2 or 3 years ago.
As far as service goes, I know a lot of people also come in and do service. Has the parts been affected by the tariffs, as far as are people seeing more of maybe a little bit of an elevated service bill because maybe they need parts that are coming from overseas?
Yeah, there's and the numbers haven't been as specific in terms of parts price increases because there's so many.
Yeah.
But yeah. Big
just generally speaking.
Just
right?
generally speaking, and we had a big problem with parts availability. There were literally parts that were sitting in containers because in order to properly tariff them, they had to figure out what the metal content was.
Oh, wow.
So we would literally have parts that would come in that would sit for months.
Oh, wow.
That we couldn't get.
And then you get the back order stamped, and it's like, it's not really back order. Like, customs is holding it.
Right. Yeah, and you just don't know, and the folks at Porsche don't know.
Yeah.
Not really their fault, but ultimately we have to communicate the message to the customer, which is never an easy one,
Yeah.
especially if you've got a car down.
Yeah, the end result is the customer's not pleased, right? And like the whole goal in this business is obviously to keep the customer happy. So
Keep the
it's like-
customer happy.
yeah.
That's our number one goal, and it's tough. But we're all working through it. We're doing the best we can. We're trying to keep the lines of communication open, both with manufacturer and the customer. And,
Yeah.
and trying to think outside the box to take care of people when we can.
Yeah, what a mess. Like I'm just speaking from like, I order parts for some of my older cars that come from Germany too. And it's like, I've dealt with that personally where I'll get a message from the parts company. Hey, it's in customs, but it could be there for 2 days or it could be there for 2 months.
Yeah.
We don't know. And like that, man, puts a lot of people in limbo, right? It's just kind of one of those guessing games. And like, nobody wants to hear it's like, well, we'll let you know when we find out, because then it feels, as from a customer standpoint, it's not true because you have enough higher thinking to know it's not true, but you're like, is anything being done? You're like,
is it just
did you
sitting there?
actually order the parts? Or are you just, like, my car's just going to live at your,
Yeah.
you need this to make the turbo run. You're like, well, it's been 2 months.
They're
Can I
not,
get
yeah.
my car back?
They're not going to pay the bill till they go, oh, wait, well, it's going to cost us less. All right, we'll wait.
Right.
I had a question on, so with the EVs not selling, particularly like as you guys want them, and all the tariff situation, do you think the lines, like we're just going to start shrinking down as far as having like a GTS, a turbo, a GT car, stuff like that? Do you think they're going to kind of make that a little bit smaller, make that easier on production and figure out numbers that way?
So what Porsche has done, despite the fact that they've had invested billions in EV products, so what they've done is they've sort of turned the faucet off on some of the EVs. So very little production of Taycan right now, very little production of Macan EV going forward. I don't know where that shakes out, but what they're talking about is we're actually going to go down in volume. So whereas we sell, call it 75,000 cars a year in the United States now, we're talking about next year with 718 really going away for a while anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about going into the mid to high 60s. And then, as I'm sure you guys know, the internal combustion Macan goes away at the end of next year.
Yep.
So that's going to take away a huge amount of volume. So we're actually talking, 2027, we could be in the mid to high 50s.
Wow. That's insane.
That's a big
Yeah,
number. That's
insane.
a big deal.
Yeah.
So they've got, my understanding is they've got another Macan coming, should be here around 2028. Then of course we'll have the EV 718 or whatever they're going to call it. Probably sometime next year. It's supposed to be spectacular, but we don't really know where that car lands and what the EV market looks like going forward. It's just super murky.
I mean, everything's going to be awesome when you first get it, right?
Right. Everything's
supposed
going to be
great.
awesome when we first get it. I'm sure we'll sell all of them, but it just we really don't know what any of it looks
It seems like they might do. I mean, the smart move, in my opinion, would be treat everything like, especially your EVs, treat it like a GT car. As far as small batch of colors, the EVs get this small. Like, just make them special.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were treated as they're meant to be a special car as far as it's a new thing, but they wanted it also to he wanted to sell like your normal combustion engines. But
I read just yesterday that they were talking about they were going to bring the internal combustion motor back in the 718 and the top model stuff.
I
So
saw
like,
that, yeah.
yeah, we
I mean,
saw some of that.
I don't know how true it is, but a lot of that information, like I don't hear that from Porsche. They don't necessarily communicate that to me.
Yeah.
I would imagine like it's probably hard, right? Like I'm trying to think outside. Like I worked in the corporate world for a while. I think like Porsche is a little different because there's a lot of brand loyalty. There's a lot of customers that are interested, as opposed to like if you worked for an insurance company and you were in the corporate world, there's not going to be disseminated information. It's like, hey, did you hear there's going to be changes in the policy next year and that people are going to save a lot of money, like external communication. And then people ask, they're like, hey, have you heard anything about that? You work at an insurance company. He's like, they don't tell us anything like that. So I think it doesn't roll out internally because there's so many dynamic shifts, right? Like that could be told by like some super high level executive in a press meeting or somebody's quoted saying that. And yeah, that may happen, but maybe there's no timeline on it, right? Like it could be, yeah, I said it was going to happen, but I didn't say when.
Right.
So then it could be like an indefinite thing. And then people come to you, or like people like us, they're like, hey, what's the inside scoop?
Right.
And you're like, there is no inside scoop.
Yeah,
You're like,
people ask that stuff all the time, assuming that we get that information, and to a degree we do sometimes, But generally, it's way after the
Yeah.
cars have been spied on the Nürburgring, and you know,
Yeah,
you
like
see all
there's
this
like
stuff.
it's like
Yeah.
official already, right? Like because then they have to build out like obviously for the portal for people to order and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But by then you got like everybody already knows, so like it's not like that secret information.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, GT3 cab, we've heard that's a thing. The slant nose car, we've heard that's a thing. We've got one more heritage car coming up, which is supposed to be like a 1980s throwback thing. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the slant nose, but
Yeah.
again, I'm just surmising
Yeah.
based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
You're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
looking and like,
Yeah,
that
pretty
sounds
much
cool.
what
Yeah.
everyone else is doing, right? Like
Right.
just looking and being like, this is kind of like a process elimination. It's like it's probably going to be one of these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard some. I think some of that comes out from some journalist stuff because they were like, for example, I know one of the guys was driving a GT2 and sitting with an executive, and they're like, "This can't get any crazier than this." And then they're like, "Well, we can't really say, but yeah, it can."
Yeah.
And they just talked about like horsepower numbers and like what was kind of, but then just kind of left.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 So I have a question for you, Larry, as a Porsche brand ambassador. If I'm walking in, you know, and I'm eligible as a client, you know, I've built reputation with you, and I come in and I want to do a special wishes car. Can you walk us through like high level? I know like we talked offline about how in the weeds you can get with that, but can you walk us through maybe somebody who's never experienced that or they've heard things from other people? I think it's a very kind of like, if you know, you know, and like, you know, it's by the time 7 people tell a secret, it changes by the end, and you're like, this is how it works, and it's like, yeah, you know, I heard you got to go out there and give a blood sacrifice, and all, like it's like it's not true, but you know, by the end you have this
Right.
tall tale lie about
But maybe
how
it is.
this all goes down. Can
Yeah.
you kind of clear that muddy water a little bit
For
and
sure.
like walk us through that process?
Yeah, so it's definitely like it's like the Skunk Works division of Porsche. It's very, very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way it works is essentially the allocation has to be really, really, really far out, which kind of Porsche corporate can help with. And then we go best case scenario is always what I say. I go, if the world is your oyster and you want to do whatever on the planet,
Mhm.
what would you want to do to this car, right? And so just like a GT3, for example, right? They just added exclusive manufacturer leather where you can change the leather colors, but let's say you want a specific kind of leather color that, you know, doesn't exist or isn't available there, right? We can, you know, you can do that. You can do, you know, really commonly seat inserts,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of really small things within Sonderwunsch that is really unique. So like they do the cross stitching package. And so that's actually a really limited thing that we kind of need to cross our fingers for, which is hilarious. You got a special wishes GT3 allocation, right? It's incredible. And then you got to try to get this allocation. It's insane.
Yeah,
But
like
they
because you
do-
have to submit it, right?
Well,
And then
they
it has
have,
to
so
get
we-
approved,
we have to
right? Like,
submit
it's
it.
not just like, oh,
Correct.
Once
Yeah.
there's steps in that process.
Correct. Yeah. So the first step is you know, what's the dream, and then I send that to corporate. Mason Durin, he's our contact for special wishes for the Southeastern Division. And he kind of gets in touch with me and the customer, and we kind of go through the steps. He'll usually send us a first batch of renders, and then, being that I've done this a few times, obviously one car delivered and a few more in the works. I kind of know what's feasible and what's not feasible. So Mason will actually send our list of special wishes to Germany, and they'll do feasibility testing is what they call it.
Okay.
And so a lot of it now.
Exactly. That's the same thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
Nine.
Yeah,
No.
9. Yeah.
There's a lot of 9.
A lot of 9. Yeah. Whether it's numbers or no, it's there's a lot of 9. But yeah, no, it's a really unique process. And it's not putting a stick in a GT3 RS. It's all you know, visual things. Nothing performance based, but
can't mess with the mechanical
Correct.
Side of the situation.
Correct.
So you're saying
Yeah.
there's room for another level. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Did
that's
not say
called
that.
recommissioning.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a whole nother level.
That is
Yeah.
a whole other level. But yeah, no, you can change the wheel colors. You can change, you know, obviously the seats and the leather, and you can go really bananas for sure. But there's some crazy unique stuff, and you know, as long as you're interested in doing it, you know, it's definitely doable as long as you're patient. It's a very long
Yeah.
process, and they'll walk you through the steps. We'll go through feasibility testing. Most of everything has kind of already been done at this point,
Yeah.
so there's not really true feasibility testing that needs to be done. And then Porsche corporate gives us kind of a ballpark on the pricing. It's never it's never 100% accurate until we
You're
get to the final spot. But
customer, I got to let you know, we got to be plus or minus 50 on this.
no,
Like,
not
so-
that
no, I'm just
not that
kidding.
high, not that high, but there are plus and minuses.
Yeah.
And then we get into a lock date, just how we would on a normal build. And then the car gets actually, the craziest part of the Special Wishes program is the car gets built completely how you would on the Porsche website, and then it gets ripped apart.
Yeah, because it goes to them, and they got to
Yeah.
do
It
their
goes to
thing,
them.
right?
Yep. So
Yeah.
they go do their thing, and it's really crazy. I mean,
They're
you'll
like junk.
exactly.
Junk.
Yeah. I mean,
Junk.
essentially, yeah. They'll
Carbon
build,
buckets, junk.
build the car to completion, and then they rip it all apart and build it how you want it. So
Yeah.
it's a really cool process. So like we've got a car inside right now. We've got a Coppola Florio GT3 RS, and that one's got the wheels paint matched right with a matte finish, and that one's really crazy. It's got the blue carbon fiber, which is like kind of a newer thing that they've been doing. But yeah, I mean the world's your oyster essentially. So there's definitely some production limitations on certain aspects, but most of the time it's pretty much the world's your oyster.
And is it also for like a customer that's coming in, that is it also timing, or does each dealership get so many Special Wishes? How does that process work as
No.
far as like, oh, you have an opportunity for this? Is it like there's going to be 3, or is it just a window where Special Wishes is accepting during this time frame, and
Right.
if you happen to be in that window, you have a lotto ticket basically?
Yeah, so it's not really a window thing. It's really just like as long as you're patient. So it's really far out, the allocations.
Okay.
For Special Wishes, most of the time they're usually about a year out.
Okay.
For the allocation
Got
month,
it.
for the build month. It's not when it gets delivered. It's usually about a 2-year
Yeah.
process for the car to get delivered and done in the
That
States.
probably makes sense because they have a backlog, right?
yeah,
so
for
they're
sure,
already
for
projecting
sure.
and foreshadowing.
And you got to think they're doing it for the whole world.
Yeah.
Right. So, but one of those like kind of that I was talking about earlier, the allocation and an allocation. So the cross stitching, they only build 25 of those a month for the whole world.
Wow.
So you could get Special Wishes, and if you want to do cross stitching, we've got to apply for cross stitching.
Wow.
So it's really cool, and they do some other stuff like that. The obviously you guys have seen the Chroma Flare cars and stuff like that. Same kind of process. It's a allocation and an allocation. We ask corporate, and as long as you're really flexible on time frame, they can make it work, right? So if you're like, if you're not in a rush for the car, and maybe all of December is filled for cross stitching, but they've got a slot for January, they can usually kind of make some stuff work.
So is your opinion, I mean, obviously on price, because that's a specialized,
Yes.
it obviously adds a lot more, but is a factor for a lot of folks because they don't have the patience to wait for that program? Is that part of it too, where people are like, because from what I'm saying, like, is if you're long as you're patient, you can get what you want essentially.
Right.
So if I'm sitting there like, hey, I don't really need the car for 2 years, but I want all of these things, am I correct in thinking that I'm going to get a shot at that happening?
Yeah, it's really a patience thing. And obviously okay with spending the amount of dollars that it takes.
Obviously, yeah.
I mean,
without
it's
getting in, the
it's
weeds
not
with that.
it's
See,
not,
like I was always under the opinion where it was like, nope, not everybody even gets an opportunity for that. You know?
Right.
It's like, hey,
Right.
it's almost kind of like, be happy with your GT3 allocation and get out of here.
And there's
Type
and
of
there's
situation,
times
right?
where
because that's kind of like the word on the street. If you haven't gone
Yeah.
through the process, you don't really know.
yeah, there's a lot of times where it's definitely not doable. You know what I mean? If like I've got a particular allocation at a certain time, but yeah, no, if it's a far out one, it's pretty easy. It's not that hard, but you got to be flexible. Like I've got a customer, we're doing leather to sample on their car, and so it's not even a normal leather color. Like it's a very unique. They got to pick it out and dye it and essentially make the leather.
Yeah.
They don't have it on hand, and so it's kind of just waiting for that.
That's pretty cool.
essentially. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a really cool car.
So, circling back to Mike, and you probably know the answer to this too, Larry, but like I guess we've talked about this in the past, but I still think it's just clear as mud still. Do allocations change as far as like, let's just talk about GT cars. Like if you sell so many GT cars and successfully sell them, or is it based off other sales that you have, like volume on that side? How does it work as far as, oh, I've got 100 GT3 allocations for 2026, but maybe 2027 I'll have 200 because I sold everything we had. How does that number fluctuate, go up or down?
So dealers are allocated everything based on what they call share of nation. So
Okay.
basically the number of cars you sell versus other dealers in the nation.
Okay.
And that's broken down by model line. We get allocated GT cars once a year.
Okay.
And they basically apply that share of nation percentage that
Mhm.
we have for 911 to the number of cars that were allocated.
Okay.
And you get your number. So if they don't build a lot, we're not going to get a lot. If they build a ton, we'll get
Okay.
a good amount. So it's very murky.
Okay.
Yeah, we really don't know
So
until
you
we
guys,
get it.
So basically, you don't know until you get awarded your number, essentially.
Yeah,
at the
we
year.
don't know until we get awarded our number. The only thing we can do to really drive that number up is to increase our share of nation of 911. So
Okay.
sell more 911s.
Yeah.
And we have a number of methods of doing that. Well, one of them is going to this company car sale that Porsche has, right?
Mhm.
So in this month they have 2 of them, but typically it's 1 a month, and it's for dealers only. We go online,
Mhm.
all these cars run through the block, and we bid on them.
Okay. So
and-
internal dealer auction, essentially, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's run through Porsche Cars North America. The cars are in various locations in the country. Most of them are, corporate executive cars or track cars.
Okay.
Just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Marketing cars. Technician training, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you talk about transaction prices. So every time you buy one of those cars, you
Mhm.
basically get credit.
Okay.
So if I buy a 911, I get credit for selling another 911. So
Okay.
it's like I sold another one. So it's
Uh-huh.
going to increase that share of nation number. So, but because when you buy these cars, it counts sort of as a sale,
Mm-hmm.
which also goes towards your premier dealer numbers, goes towards your share of nation. The transaction prices on these cars are insane.
I bet.
Yeah. So I mean,
Probably really competitive, right? Because everybody has that same mindset you just said. They're like, hey, this is an opportunity for us to get maybe a cool car and also get credit for selling that cool car and buying a cool car.
Right, and a lot of it is, for us, we want to hit Premier Dealer every year. So, we're trying to drive Premier Dealer metrics. We're trying to drive 911 share of nation because everybody in the world wants a GT3, and I'm never going to have enough of them.
Yeah.
So, we want to drive that 911 share of nation up. But, consequently, when we go to a company car sale, we'll spend, 911s transact anywhere from 20 to 50 grand over MSRP. It's what we pay them,
Yeah.
pay for it, and it's not like
And that's in-house.
that's in-house.
Yeah.
That's what I'm paying for it.
That's
And it's
insane.
not like, I go buy a base 911 coupe and I have the ability to sell it for 50 grand
Yeah.
over. It's not the case.
Yeah.
So, it's a significant investment. That's one thing about this brand, right?
Mhm.
If, in order to succeed, it's a significant investment everywhere. It's
Yeah.
a significant investment in the facility. It's a significant investment in the people. It's significant investment in the inventory.
Yeah.
Like in
a
order
good
to
point.
perform at a high level, it is expensive.
Yeah, everything has to be hitting on every level.
Gotta
right?
pay to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes total sense. How long has that program been around? Obviously, it's got to be semi-new, right? Like, I mean, probably last 10 years that program's been around?
Something like that. I mean, it went what they call the share of nation credit went away for a while
Mm-hmm.
because dealers would, because the transaction prices were so high. So Porsche took away the share of nation credit, and then they implemented it again beginning of this year. They did. So
Okay.
it's a great way to grow your allocation. It's also an expensive way to grow your allocation, but it's this is a tough, expensive brand to grow with.
Yeah. And then let's transition a little bit, like some fun stuff, some motorsport stuff, like that each dealer gets to do, and especially you guys. Like, so you guys are a Manti dealer,
Right.
So do you guys get credit as a dealership with each Manti kit that gets sold? Is there incentive from Porsche to be like, oh, hey, man, last year you did 30 Manti kits? Is there I guess my answer is they're dangling that carrot. What's your reward as a dealership if you execute what they're asking you to execute?
Or one of the myriad of KPI that Porsche looks for us to hit. Part sales is part of that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where Manti falls in. So, they want us to, and again, talk about Premier Dealer, right? That's what we're always shooting for. We want to be in the top 25 in the nation. So, the Manti kits count towards tech equipment and PLX purchases,
Mm-hmm.
which tech equipment and PLX is typically, your roof rails, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff that you hang on the car after the fact, or shirts and hats.
Mhm.
But it's a big number.
Yeah.
And what Manti does is allow us to hit it. Now, I don't want to take away from the Manti kit. Those things are amazing.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Uh-huh.
But they're expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they help us to hit those targets.
Okay. So basically, it falls into that parts area, and like because of the expense, I mean, it's not a secret. Everybody knows they're super expensive. So, but that helps that number. You
Correct.
achieve that number. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I
Yep.
was gonna say, like, I didn't know if they had it like separate, where they were kind of like, all right, Manti kits are like its own thing, and push the fish, it's about to turn. Like, get those Manti kits out there.
No. No, not really like that. But I mean, it's you want to sell, call it 3 or 4 of those a year anyway.
Yeah.
At least we do. I mean, every dealer is going to be a little bit different.
That's always cool too, right? For
Yeah.
the dealership to have it and like take photos and like kind of like brag on it too, right? Because
It's
they look so wild and cool.
It's a
looking.
great car to have in the community, and everybody sees it, and it's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
They're like,
It's-
oh man, like,
Yeah.
what is that, dude? Like, have you guys done any 3RS Mantis kits?
My first one is in my shop right now.
Oh,
Yeah, it's right there. Right there.
So
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
that nobody can see right now.
That no one can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, so what are your thoughts? I want to get both of your thoughts on this. With the whole back window carbon fiber situation with that car, how do you feel? Like, yay or nay on that?
Oh wow. I think if you're the person that is putting a Manti kit on your GT3 RS to take to the track,
Uh-huh.
I think you don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? You put it in reverse, the backup camera is still there. My colleagues at Champion have got a cool solution where they put a backup camera or a camera in there somewhere, like they put a new
okay.
rearview mirror in,
Oh yeah.
and I've seen that on their
Oh, that's cool.
Instagram where they actually sort of
Yeah.
alleviate that
Yeah.
pain point.
That makes sense. How
Mhm.
about you? How do you feel about it?
The wing is so massive, anyways. You can't see anything out of the back of the stock car.
That's a good point.
Like this, you see a vague shape that's red. Like that's all you like. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's nothing back. It's so hard.
I'm surprised you should sell the real estate for that shark fin.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that should be advertising.
No, for
billboard
sure.
as it
That should
goes
say
by,
Porsche
right? Like
Clearwater.
whoever gets a Manti kit should do that. They're like, hey, I have space on this car. You can pay me to advertise your business, like
Billboard.
whatever on that thing. Like, I think it's a really cool car. I mean, I remember when they came out with that kit, and I think they were testing it on the Nürburgring, and I was like, it was already a wild car, like Larry was saying, and it's like, I guess. I mean, you're already there. I mean, you might as well just keep going, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're trying to mimic this thing a little
Yeah,
bit with
right.
with that shark fin. So.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, and Larry's been doing a lot of these like cool events at the dealership, and how do you decide when and where and like the intricacies of having an event that you're hosting for people, because essentially it's money out of the dealership's pocket to kind of, hey, come hang out, like, and there's dealerships I'm sure that do better at that, and then there's some dealerships that probably don't do that. So you guys are one. I feel like you do a really good job of hosting like lots of different kinds of events, and how do you come up with, do you want to try to do one a quarter? How does that work as far as your planning goes?
Yeah, so Porsche Corporate actually comes out with a plan of kind of the events we need to do for the year for them, right? And then obviously we just do our own sometimes too that don't even relate to that at all. They're just for us, you know, for the customer, and then obviously other local events around kind of the county. So this weekend was actually one of the big ones that Porsche was like, hey, we're gonna, you guys are gonna do this. We're like, cool. But it's really cool. They give us kind of a vague kind of plan and a few different, ideas and stuff like that, and parameters for us to hit on kind of what they want to see. And so we kind of take that and run. And they're usually actually very, very strict on kind of what they want to see.
Okay.
And we're able to tweak it and make changes. Our Macan EV launch party last year, that was
So they're
something that was-
watching, but
Oh yeah.
not a lot of people know. You guys know they're watching, but we're kind of like,
Yeah,
this
no,
is like
so-
a dealership. You're like,
Yeah, so
Big Brother's watching this whole thing go down.
so we
man.
actually have to submit it. They don't watch, but we have to submit everything to them, photos of the event, videos, and stuff like that, and they kind of give us a guide. But we're able to kind of be free with it and make some changes. But this year it was actually it was essentially throw a giant Porsche party and have fun, and we were like we were ready.
You're like,
we were happy
we can
to.
do that.
It's easy, and but yeah, so it was a blast for sure. It was a blast.
So for like items like this sitting right behind us,
Yes.
this 963 display, is it almost kind of like going to the library when you're in elementary school. You're like, hey, I'm having an event. Here's my library card. I need to check the car out. Like, can you send
Totally,
it to
yeah.
us? Like,
Yeah, essentially,
like,
actually.
okay,
It is.
if you turn it in late, you know how this goes.
Yeah,
Like,
no, we kind of give them the dates that we're looking to host the event, and we'll say, hey, we're looking for something fun, and Mike and I were kind of like, I mean, what's more fun than a 963 race car? So we
yeah, I
kinda
was
went
just
from
wondering,
there.
like, so events, basically there's a whole arm that you guys reach out to and they assist you. You're like, hey, we're having this party, and they're like, yeah, I see you
Correct.
on the books. Okay, like, let's see what we got for you. Is
Yeah.
that kind of how it goes? Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty cool though that there's like basically hey, we want to try to do this or get this car, and like they help you with that. That's nice.
Yeah, it's very cool, and they don't do it with just like the race cars. They do it with real road cars
Yeah.
as well. Like
they have stuff at travels, right?
Correct.
Like and they're like, oh, well, we got like I don't know, like something wild, right? Like a 935 in your area that's currently in Miami, but if you need it in 2 weeks, we can get it to you then or something.
Yeah, it's usually a lot further out than that. We need to
okay.
schedule everything, but we sponsor a big Festivals of Speed down in St. Pete at the Vinoy Park, and so last year we brought out kind of before GT3 RS was crazy, and we brought out a pastel orange one from corporate, so that was
Nice.
really, really cool to have that car out there and show that. And I guess a few years ago, before I was here, they did the 919.
Yep.
So very, very cool.
Yeah, that goes back to what Mike was saying, right? You got to pay to play, like at all levels, even if you're hosting an event.
So that 919, in particular, I want to say that car cost like 15 grand to get here, and because of where we had it, in the middle of Vinoy Park, I had to rent one of these big giant forklifts, and they sent a guy down to operate the forklift because the car was on a platform.
Oh.
And they had to forklift this thing through Vinoy Park and put it where I wanted it.
Oh, goodness.
And then, of course, when the show was over, they
Yeah, same. Reverse the
forklifted-
process.
reverse the process and put it back into a truck. That was wild.
Yeah,
That
that's why
that
this one's here.
sounds
This was
wild.
a little easier to.
Yeah, I was going to say
Wild.
that
a little
is
easier of a
wild.
process.
Yeah.
Because it's like it has a whole thing. It goes with it, right? So like, wow. Yeah, you don't think about stuff like that until you really have to start doing it. Like you think about something, it's like a whole display is built around it, and you're like, well, you can't really have a piece of it without having the whole
Exactly.
thing.
The whole
It's
thing
like,
has to go somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is wild. But I mean, that's cool. Like in a way, I'm sure it keeps these guys super busy, right? Like
Yeah.
juggling all of those like events and all of those like. I guess next question would be is like, since you've been in the industry for so long and you've seen so many arms of it, and I know I don't want to give you a layup, but like I know customer is number one, and we all know that, and that's like, but what was your favorite part of the business that you've seen that you got to be a part of, that you enjoyed just personally for you, like being selfish? You're like, oh, I really like this part of the business.
Wow. This is a people business, and I have to say that I've been lucky enough to work with amazing people that, teach me and challenge me every single day, no matter where I've worked. So, much like flying, this is also a business that will humble you quickly if you get complacent or you do something stupid. So just the fact that I have been able to learn and grow and spend a bunch of time with just really amazing people, not just at the dealership level, but the manufacturer level, like the relationships I've built and the friendships I've built, clients. I mean, it's just been super cool. So
Yeah.
that is definitely my favorite part.
That makes sense. Yeah, you and Doug
Right.
DeMiro used to work together, right? At one point.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
that's pretty wild.
He's a riot.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah, his career's gone an interesting way, right? On his
Yeah.
own, like entrepreneurial wise, and
Yeah.
done his own thing. It's pretty cool. But again, like the car community is a small community, right? So
Nope.
it just in Porsche specific, it gets even smaller on the microscope than other areas, right?
Yeah, Porsche, especially the Porsche community. It's super small. There's not a lot of turnover here. So like me, I've been with it 20 years. I know tons of people.
Yeah.
Right, and there's folks that that I know that have been with the brand that have been doing it longer than me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wonderful brand to be a part of consistently. It's not always perfect, but it's consistently been a wonderful brand to be a part of.
Yeah, they always say a great measure of a brand is not having a lot of turnover, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of the biggest corporate giants are measured on that. Like, very low turnover rate. That means worker satisfaction is high. People enjoy what they do there, and they want to stay there, and they want to spend their careers there. So that says a lot about Porsche as a brand. Right?
Yeah, it's not always perfect. It's just a hard business. It's a very, very hard business. But ultimately, I think it's rewarding and it's challenging, and you can grow.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, even me, that I've been in the business for a long time, 20 years.
Yeah.
I learn something new all the time.
Yeah, that's cool. How about you, Larry? So far, I mean, I know you've been exposed to a lot of cool stuff, and so far, what's your favorite part?
There's a lot. Being in it for only the short time that I have so far, I mean, it's really cool to help people on the journey of like literally building like
Their dream, right?
their dream. Like it is absolutely insane, because it's like, if I look back like 5 years, like I had zero clue that I would like even be close to touching these cars and being around these cars, and like, you know, it's crazy, because like these cars are on my wall, it's on a poster, you know, when I was a kid, and it's like, it's crazy to just be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, we just got a Special Wishes GT3 RS right there, and
no
a
big deal.
Speedster right there, and
Yeah.
a 4.0 and a 964 RS. Like, it's not, it's crazy. But building the dream cars, helping people just get there, whether it's their first one or their 50th. Like it's so fun to just kind of go through that process with them and do all that. I mean, it's like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
It's the one time I think people kind of get the chance to be like, wow.
Well, yeah, they're happy, right?
Like,
So it makes total sense. You're like helping them achieve their goal. You're helping them like get their special car, and like you're pumped up, and you get some say in it, and like, they're in the room with you. I've had some guys, and they're like, "What do you think? Do you think I'm kind of like, this is like duck fur? Should I do this or not?" You're like, it's a choice.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I mean, I've had
that's
those.
the answer. You don't want to like waver. You're like, it's a choice.
Yeah, like, I mean, and even building like everything from like a base Cayenne or a base Carrera all the way to like, going to Atlanta and building Special Wishes GT3s. Like, it's I love being part of that process and kind of being it's crazy. It's like, I'm 23 and these people are asking me my advice, and I'm like, I guess I do know.
Look
what I'm-
professional. Look professional.
am I doing this right? Like, this is good. Like, so.
Your
But-
mind's going off like 9. Don't do that. 9. Like, you do not need that much carbon fiber.
No,
9.
no, it's been really cool to kind of be part of the step in the process, though, for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine being a young man too. I think it would be super exciting. Actually, I should take that back. It doesn't matter how old you are. I would be excited to sit down and essentially spend somebody else's money. I don't mean that negatively, but I mean, we do that with our friends all the time. We're like, yeah, you should buy it. And you're like, yeah, you want me to just drop $250? No problem. I'm like, dude, I'm excited for you. You should buy that. That's a cool car. And
That's
like,
how
I get as excited as the person buying it for their own car, because they are so cool. All those cars are cool, and it's like helping them spec it is just as close to exciting as buying it yourself. I feel like. I mean, I feel that way, even with friends, ascertaining new cars.
Yeah.
And, seeing them for the first time when they show up, I get those feelings. I'm like, man, this car's so cool. Like,
That's how Kevin got that MR car. It was over a couple of drinks at Hermezzo, and then I was like, hey, you definitely need this in your life.
One thing I love about this is my sales team gets as excited as the customer does when these cars come out. Like when the truck rolls up and we know we've got a special car on there, my guys are out there taking videos of it. They're not taking the videos for the customer. I mean, they are, but they're not taking videos of the just specifically
everybody's
for the
on
customer.
smiles team.
Everybody's like,
smiles out there. Like,
this
dude,
thing is cool.
look at
Check this out.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, that's the environment I want to foster here.
Yeah, and everybody that is an ambassador here, I see them posting because I follow several of them, and it could be a car, even like a good client has a car, even if it's not new, and like, hey, brand new touring just came in and they picked up their allocation. It just got delivered, and it's like 2 really cool cars there, and I was like, whoa, dude, that's awesome, and that's just as exciting. You're like, hey, I want to turn in my PTS touring. You're like, you come to the right place.
Come to the right place. Yes, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, yes, please.
I remember when the first batch of the new GTS-T hybrids came off the truck.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all left and went outside. And I think I remember like somebody, I think it was you, texting in the sales group chat like, like, you guys need to be in here. Like, I need at least one of you in here. Like,
Can someone help me answer the phone?
Yes.
Like, it's still
There's
ringing.
no one in here. This is we're operating normal business hours, everyone. And then everybody fights over who gets to go put gas in it, right? You're like, I'm going to put gas in it. You're like, you went last time. Like, no, that's so cool. I mean, like so much, cool stuff coming in. And let's talk about the facility real short before we close. Like, it's a beautiful facility. It's a new facility. I'd still consider it new because it still wasn't built that long ago. How long ago was this built?
So construction was done. We moved in 2022.
Okay.
It was a long time coming. We sort of started, we literally, the plans and everything were drawn pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we finally broke ground and everything else, we were in the midst of COVID, so it took forever. But yeah, so we were originally back at our, I call it the mothership, down at St. Petersburg at 34th Street North and 38th Avenue North. And we've been there, that building has been there since 1953.
Yeah.
Long time. Yeah, long time. So, we built this in 2022. This is what they call it's a Gen 4.5. So the new stores you see are what they call a Gen 5. Facade's a little bit different. It's kind of got the Darth Vader red lights on the outside that I like. But
That's
this is
very Porsche.
It yeah.
Dot point.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah. So they added a lot of the dark wood accents that you see here, and in the fitting lounge, and in that lounge kind of near my office there. Just different touches to kind of soften it up, because before it was very sort of cold in here. It's very cold and German and
White,
aluminum
gray.
everywhere.
Sterile.
Yeah, very sterile, and so this has definitely softened the place up a
more
little bit.
warm, right?
Yep.
Like more modern German, not old school German.
Right.
well, the classic display too. That was a new addition.
Yeah,
I
noticed
recently,
that. It's very
so.
cool.
Classic display's awesome. We always try to keep something cool there. Luckily, we have a client that has lots of classics that is generous with them. So.
That's very cool. So obviously, moving here, it's a new facility. It's exciting. It looks and presents well. Have you noticed better business because of the new facility? Like, have you noticed an uptick over the time, like from the old facility? Obviously you did well, it was Porsche, but have you noticed, like, hey, it's out here, it's this thing, and it's like, it's shiny, it's new, like more people are excited?
So we do notice we do notice that there's a lot more, it's sort of it's a destination. So most folks that come here are intending and doing business in one form or another. We've noticed a lot more North County folks because, I mean, I've lived here a long time. Driving from Clearwater Beach to St. Pete.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It is brutal. So it's definitely more centrally located. Getting here is a little bit tricky for the first time, but once you've got it, you kind of know where it's at. So, it's actually been wonderful up here. We've seen our business go up significantly.
Yeah.
So, it's been a wonderful move for us.
Back to the pay to play, right? I know this is cost gobs of money to build, but
gobs.
Yeah.
And not only was the building gobs of money, but then when we did the upgrade, a year and a half later, that was another gob of money that we just put into a brand new building,
which is insane, right?
Yeah, it's insane, but it's wonderful because
4.5 now.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that was crazy.
You're like, excuse me, come again?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And they made that a premier dealer category. It was awesome. Yeah, but it's a wonderful environment, right?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful environment. You're immersed in the brand when you come here.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, owning a Porsche is an experience. So it's like essentially you guys you're not like any other automakers that are out there, and Porsche's been a very good job and a very good steward of doing that, making sure that it's a lifestyle brand. Right. It's like, hey, it's all and these kinds of facilities help that though, right? Like, as opposed to like, it's a different vibe, it's a different feel, right? Especially for a new customer that hasn't been immersed in Porsche ever. If you have somebody new walking in the door that's going to buy, hey, I'm just kind of testing the waters, I want to buy like a Cayenne, like this is insane. Like, I didn't know that there were dealers who did stuff like this out there, and it's like they wake up, and things change like overnight for those folks. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it really is a brand that if you invest in it returns. It's worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Aaron, you have anything else for our guests?
I don't think I have too much. No, I'm good.
We've taken enough of their Sunday. Mike's got to get back up in the air.
Yeah, he's gonna fly.
Do his baller flying.
Yeah.
He does like part-time aerial ticketing. Like he's got a radar gun. That's what he's doing. That's
So
how
he
he gets the
gets the
cop
police
side.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like still, he's like, little did you know, I'm doing a part-time gig. and
Yeah.
I'm giving tickets out.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much for what you guys do for us.
Thanks
and
for having
hanging-
us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we got to do this. I appreciate you giving us your time, and I don't have anything else for you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
See ya.
See you.
We out.